wild, emotional roller coaster ride.
Guy is down on his luck.
It's a fantasy film.
Definitely a comedy.
I thought it was awesome.
It's a total pain in the ass.
Steven kind of knows what he's doing, kind of knows his shit. I probably can't say shit. Steven really knows his balls.
So basically, this movie really started because I got involved at Theatricos in Flagstaff, the community theater. The model of Theatricos as a community theater, and all it does is ask the people in the community to be involved in their productions, was really a huge inspiration for me to make the movie the way that I made it. And just by basically, I don't really think about it as an independent film, I think about it as a community film.
Oh.
Becky, dang it!
So the original idea of Unconscious really came a really long time ago when I was in high school, and I had this idea for a story about a musician who is addicted to drugs, but for whatever reason the drugs makes his music better. And I always liked that idea, but I wanted to make it more comedic. So instead of it being drugs and such a heavy topic, I made it, instead of drugs, that the character would get knocked out, and instead of music, I made the art writing. So I got involved with Theatricos in January, February 2007, and I was in a play called Lysistrata. And it was maybe a couple months after that, I decided I wanted to take another crack at this screenplay Unconscious that I wrote in college. And it took me a year. Even though I had a previous screenplay that I wrote in college, I started from scratch, but with the basic same idea of a guy who gets knocked unconscious and writes a book. And I would rewrite, but it took me a year to write that first draft. At the end of that year, I decided I wanted to hear it out loud. I decided to do a table reading at Theatricos, and I invited a bunch of actors that I already knew from being involved with the theater.
He got my email from the Theatricos list, and he emailed me this tentative letter that was like, I hope this is Sydney, would you please come and read, and I'm going to drop off a script at the theater for you.
So I got involved with Unconscious because Stephen Root and I did a play in 2008, summer of 2008, called Play It Again, Sam. And I think it was shortly after that Stephen gathered a bunch of us together in the Playhouse basement to read a draft.
It was exciting to, see the potential on the script, like on the page.
Everyone had read it but me. So I'm reading the screenplay, everyone's reading it, it's hysterical, we're all laughing hysterically, and we get to Maria, and I realize that Maria is who she is in the movie, and I'm shocked that I am the one reading her, because she's a big deal.
On that original table reading, I think there was only just a few of the people that read that table reading that wound up being in the cast.
I forget when we started filming, because that was 4 years ago.
That was a couple years before we actually started shooting, and at the time when he started shooting, I was shocked that he still wanted me to play Maria, because I thought we were just reading it to help him learn what it was going to sound like, and in fact he was secretly looking for cast.
I lost my job, and I was kind of floating around from place to place as far as looking for jobs, and it was in that transition of job hunting that I moved out of my apartment.
It's worth mentioning that when we first did the reading of the screenplay, I didn't know Stephen very well.
I had run into Sydney, I remember it was at Granny's, and at an open mic night, and I overheard her freaking out because her roommate just moved out without any notice, and she was in this 3-bedroom house with another roommate, and they couldn't make rent. They needed to find a third roommate. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, would you consider letting a guy move in? Because I need a new place to stay.
Well, I knew who he was. We'd been in a play together. We really only hung out once in a while if one of our mutual friends would have us at a bar or something.
And I moved in there, and then that's where Sydney and I we met before, but that's when we really got to know each other.
Steve and I had become really good friends, roommates, then even better friends, and then
I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like, well, I like you. I want to date you. Well, we live together. And we hang out all the time. How would going on a date be any different? And I said, I'll pay for everything, and at the end of the night, I'll try to kiss you.
We were romantically involved, and we still are. And so So by the time we started shooting, I was really, really, really doubly invested in the film and its production.
Aside from deciding to make this movie, my decision to be in a relationship with Sydney is the best thing I could have ever done.
If he had to work really late one day and stuff wasn't set up yet, I would set it up. Or if he woke up one morning and realized, oh my God, we have a shoot tonight and no kids, find me some kids.
She was there helping set up lights, moving things from the truck to the location, calling up locations, setting up things, making sure we had extras.
I am credited as being an assistant producer because I live with the filmmaker.
I started the production, I think it was in the fall of 2009, and originally I didn't have Eric Schultz as the lead character. Drew Purcell, who's a good friend of mine, and both of us are in a band together. The band's called The Last Taboo. I had him play Hop, and he read the part of Hop in the original reading. Right when we started shooting, Drew got a new job as a waiter, and he needed to work weekends, and I work Monday through Friday, and so I had to decide to go with someone else.
I live in Flagstaff. Flagstaff!
Steven had seen me act and like basically asked me if I could do it.
You know, we knew each other, but we weren't real close or anything like that. And but I always thought he was a really, really good actor. I called him up on the phone, and I think my first question to him was, "Hey, what are you doing for the next year and a half?"
Kind of fell in my lap, which is pretty awesome. All the actors were people that I knew through theatricals, so that essentially we're just a group of friends making a movie.
It was really nice to be able to work with all my friends. I mean, these were people that I had worked with in countless shows before, I'd known for several years. So to be able to just get together and shoot a movie was great.
Let's go. I just remember getting a call from Steven. I worked with Steven before and with both of us as actors, and I knew what his background was. And so I thought, yeah, this would be really fun.
It's because it's not like stage. You go out there and whatever happens, happens. It's totally mess it up. You can try again.
I made your mom do the most intense thing last night.
I do know that the mom jokes also came from Play It Again Sam.
What planet is this?
Your mom might call it Andy's Planet of Love.
Oh.
My love of mom jokes is mirrored in the film, which is kind of awesome.
Enough with your mom jokes.
No, they're your mom jokes.
I feel like we were always in a race with the weather. Winter happened and he really wanted to shoot all the winter scenes when there was snow on the ground, and he would like chase the snow. Like I remember one morning he got up really early before sunrise because there had been a blizzard that night, and he wanted a picture of the emergency room sign with snow on it before it melted.
The way Steven shoots is that he would get a scene and go, God, I've got to get this done while there's still snow. I've got to get this done while this person's still in town. So Steven kept calling me. He called me. I'm in Long Beach one time. He calls me one time. I'm in Minnesota when he called.
Really, I was only producing a scene at a time, which is part of the reason why it took so long.
He kept calling me. I was never within 2,000 miles or 1,000 miles of where this needs to be. So we'd have to negotiate when I would be back, when we could do the scene.
I got the full script, but then we started right away. Just kind of sit down and read, like maybe the scene right before or right behind, just enough to get an idea of who the character was, but not the full thing in order.
I wouldn't storyboard stuff, so a lot of times I was making up the shots on the fly.
It was really funny how we all had to supply everything that we could possibly do, and everything was very low budget. It was very low budget.
Shooting in the streets and having to deal with the uncontrollable element of people walking around or in looking at the camera or pointing.
This biker stopped and was like, "Are you guys okay?"
Raymond, it's me.
Maria?
Yeah, I'm here.
And we were fine, and I was like, "Yeah, we're shooting."
Sometimes we'd be ready to film and someone would have to leave to go and do something, or weather would be dumb
even this documentary, both Matt and Laura had to shoot their interviews at their homes by themselves. I think Laura shot with her iPhone.
Hi, Stephen and Sydney.
Hey, Stephen and Sydney. We love you guys. We miss you a lot.
Yes, we do. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Hope that works for you, crazy bastard.
Matt just borrowed a camera from a friend. He interviewed himself. When he's looking off screen, he's not even looking at anybody.
No, I'm just blabbering because I'm staring at a branch out a window.
It's just an example of like the things we had to do to make this film happen.
Have fun while you're living, 'cause dying is not that fun at all.
When we shot the scene with Matt Miller's car where Andy and Hop pick up Maria for the first time and Hop meets Maria and she has the cactus, that night Matt Wilson and I were hysterical. Matt Wilson was climbing these frozen hard rock ice banks, these like snow banks that were like ice, and he was like dicking around and just being a total goofball. And at one point, I don't remember exactly how it happened, he told me to like catch something and he threw something at me. It was like a brick and he cut my finger open and I was like bleeding all over the place.
I really thought the typewriter was really cool. I mean, yes, we used an actual typewriter, but when there was the scenes where the typewriter actually fell on me or where it's hanging on by like a string, you know, those were all this typewriter that Steven made out of cardboard.
Hop, what is that? I love that Laura had to help me get that all frizzed up there and so much hairspray. It reminds me of a book series I used to read when I was in junior high, and there was a character that was always described as, you know, she could come through a tornado and look perfect. And that always flashes in my head when I see that scene when she just kind of shakes it out and it's perfect. I wish I could do that in real life. Later on, when you have to comb it out in the shower, not fun.
Oh, will you shut up already?
When I watch the finished product, you can see my illness. And the doctors don't have a word for it yet, and they haven't quite figured out what it is, but basically my facial hair and like the hair on my head grows in and out. I can be shaved one minute and I can have much longer hair another minute, and it can go back. And when you watch the scenes in Unconscious, certain scenes, you can see that happen. In one shot I'll have short hair, in one shot I'll be long hair. That's actually not true. If Stephen could have afforded to have that as someone's job, which he couldn't, because we were all very poor.
Hey, you two!
We shot the scene where we were, where my two employees were digging, and the original Becky Daggett scream, and I was just so much fun. I'm pulling up, you know, saying, "Hop, you're not worth a damn," you know. And in fact, I had my one big line.
God damn it!
I was so into it that Stephen finally had to tell me, "Okay, you don't need to say that line anymore. I've got it on tape."
I really enjoyed Sombrero.
They call me Sombrero, an artist from Mexico.
I perform at the Alamo, I always wear this hat, so they call me Sombrero.
That was my favorite part because, you know, we were able to really not take ourselves seriously, like consistently.
Be my love, dear.
I now pronounce you man in white.
I remember I was literally sitting in my living room trying to think up of some idea for a musical scene, and it was just a couple weeks after Halloween, and I was dressed as a mariachi musician that year, and the sombrero was literally sitting on a chair. I just started jotting down the lyrics, having all those actors in one space and dancing. It was just so much fun.
Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Mi amor, mi amor, mi amor, mi amor.
Everybody screaming immediately after you guys. Screaming, running. The band.
What I really enjoyed about it was the whole music production stuff and collaborating with Jim Wildermuth over the music. We actually recorded a version where Sydney sang and Eric sang.
They call me Sombrero, an artist from Mexico. I perform at the Alamo, always wear this hat, so they call me Sombrero. Mi amor,
Mi amor,
mi amor,
mi amor,
mi amor, mi amor. Then came war.
And that was a lot of fun to do, although I wound up going with the version that Jim, who produced the music, he sang both parts. I wound up using that part in the actual movie.
Till I had my revenge.
I think you can get away with a lot of things like in a dream. Just over the top.
I've never written a musical to anything before, and wondering if I could do it, trying to pull it off, and then it seems like people really enjoyed it. I mean, to me, I think that was the most rewarding part of the filming process and the most fun.
And you're still gone.
Steven didn't start actually editing until he had more linear scenes, like the beginning scenes.
It was difficult to edit when I only had little bits and pieces and they didn't match up. But once I started getting enough scenes together that I could start editing them together, then the editing really got going.
I would see the first scene, and I'm like, the first scene is done!
You start seeing the fruition of all your work starting to come together and tell a story.
We'd be in the house, and I'd be like doing my thing, and I'd hear, Sydney, come look at this!
Is this funny? Is this not funny? Sometimes if she laughed, then I knew it was working. And then sometimes I'd look at her and she'd be like,
oh my god, I remember the day that Steven started doing sound effects, and he was in his office banging stuff around, banging the helmet on the floor, and using the metal bat to get the metal sound, kissing his own hand, making like really loud kissing noises. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, nothing! He needed some specific noise, and I don't remember why he was doing this, but I walked in one time and he had his drum kit set up, and he had that Dr. Seuss striped dildo, and he was like rubbing the cymbal with it to get this specific sound. I took a lot of pictures. I was like, stay right there, and I got the camera.
I like the music a lot. Like, it was nice to have, again, like originality, like through and through.
I know a lot of musicians who are great musicians and original songwriters. Pretty much all the music are Flagstaff bands. Matt Miller, Jim Wildermuth,
Sexual Symphony,
a band called Tubuku. The Flagstaff band that's featured the most is Voluntary String Band. And I just approached them at one of their gigs at the Wine Loft, actually.
There's a band playing at the Wine Loft Friday night, Bluegrass. You want to go?
And I went up to Ryan Heinsius and said, hey, I'm making this movie and I really like your music. I think it would fit my film. Would you be willing to donate music? And he reached over and grabbed a CD that they were selling for like $10, and he just gave it to me. He's like, here you go. It's not exclusively Flagstaff musicians. I used some music from my friend Seth Johnson. He gave me some guitar music that he wrote specifically for my movie. And then my friend Casey Lyman, who I love his music. And even when I was writing the screenplay, I had pictured using his music. His music's in the writing montage. His song is the song that takes us into the end credits. And, I was lucky to know all these really talented musicians that were totally willing to donate their music for my film, and you know, without that music, the film would just be so flat. For any independent filmmakers out there, use your friends' music. Everyone's got musician friends making original songs. Use that. So the premiere was a pretty special night. It was on February 24th of 2012 at the Orpheum. I got a lot of publicity, and I think it was almost 300 people that showed up.
Being in an auditorium full of people, which there was a huge turnout, wasn't expecting that. And my scene came up, and you get kind of nervous. It's like, oh, I'm about to come on screen. This is weird.
I didn't expect it to look as good as it did.
Actually, it was really good.
It was fantastic.
It was amazing.
Really professional in my eyes. I mean, maybe a professional wouldn't think so.
When we went to the premiere, that was a unbelievable experience to see the film play straight out, and to see all your friends when they come on the screen get a round of applause from the local crowd.
It's like there were just like little bits that kind of all clicked for me. It's like, oh, okay, that, and it all made sense. It was just, we had a blast.
I didn't expect that it was going to be that high quality.
The moment where the hand didn't twitch and it cut to credits, and people just stood on their feet and applauded and screamed. I mean, I know they were biased because a big part of the crowd was cast members and families and friends of cast members, but still they really enjoyed it, and that was a really, really special moment.
I was shocked, really, when it premiered, how many people saw it. And I don't mean to say that the crowd shocked me. I mean, afterwards, I was recognized all of a sudden by total strangers.
I thought it was a neat experience that everybody kind of came together as a community under one vision and just put together, I think it was a fantastic show.
The best I'd ever seen of local people.
It definitely transitioned for me. At first it was, I admit that first couple of days it was like, yeah, okay, not a big deal.
Well, how is this for inspiration?
You know, not super serious, reading a few lines for a friend. And then you start realizing as you're going, it's like, no, this is something bigger than that.
Oh, what the hell, Bobby?
It was such an amazing experience to be able to work on this movie. Thank you again so much, Stephen, for that. To be able to work with a cast of quite a few people that you know and you've done plays with and that you've known for years. I mean, for some people, I've even had classes with them. It was great. I love Flagstaff for that, of everybody actually coming together and that it is this beautiful community setting.
By the time I saw the movie, I had moved to Chicago, and so I hadn't seen a lot of those people for a long time. So it was nice to see everybody again and just be brought back to that time in my life, which was a pretty cool time.
When I look back on Unconscious, what I think of is Steve going to call again for another movie? So I'm ready to go, Steven. Just so you know, I'm ready to go.
We got a championship to defend.
I'm really proud of the work that I got to do in it, and I'm really proud of the product that we ended up with, all of us.
I look at it as like a major learning experience in film for me. It brings in all these networks together, because it's not just like, you know, it's not just the actors and the people actually making the film, but it's, you know, people in the bands like that are playing music for the movie, like they're invested a little bit too.
I don't really see an end in sight for myself. You did it! It will lead to more movies. I feel like this is sort of a seamless sort of Steven's existence, and I'm a part of that. So the experience was amazing. The experience was really fun. It felt casual, and it felt in some ways guerrilla style, like sneaky and exciting.
Anyone can make a movie the way I made this movie. Anyone can do it, but to actually do it, you just need a lot of luck. You need a lot of patience. You need to just keep chipping away at it no matter how long it takes.
When I look back on this film,
for me, it's really like a photo album of my life in a lot of ways, because it was a huge chunk of my life that I was working on it. It showcases the place that I lived in for that period of time. It showcases a lot of my friends that I had during that period of my life. It's a very sentimental thing for me to watch and think about all the good times in Flagstaff and all the good friends I had, and all the lasting relationships I made because of not only the movie but the town and the theater and how all of those experiences have changed my life.
But I think it was just nice to see the community helping each other out.
Great memory, and especially with so many of the people that were leaving.
I would pay to do another. No, don't tell Stephen that. I wouldn't pay, but I would come close to paying. I should have paid.
I love you all, and say hi to your mom.
I had a great experience in general, and I'm still having a great experience.
Bring it to Kansas City.
Yeah. We have an extra room.
Yeah,
and everything.
we do.
Yeah.
And we can screen it on the side of our house.
Oh yeah.
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 Totally.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.